Hello, everyone, and welcome.
Hey, I'm alive.
He's
I mean,
alive.
in theory, I'm still quarantined, but that wasn't so much because I'm sick anymore, but because this one's a call.
Yeah, all right. Welcome into episode 84 here on Illiana Stock Car Radio. Jeremy here with you. And as you can see, my revolving door of good acres the last several episodes. Chris is
I
back.
think I think we'll both be on the next one. I think the
Yeah,
schedule has since
well,
since the next one is going to be recorded on site. We might be a revolving door because one of us got to sell stuff at the table and the other one can be on a microphone.
somebody's got to sell stuff. Somebody's got to
Yeah,
go run
but we're
down and
bringing mom too, so
yeah,
I
so
can handle the business.
we'll have a lot going on there. But Brian out tonight with a work obligation for this week. So, Chris, good to see you back amongst the living, though.
Yep, that's. I think it was influenza B. It just kicked my ass.
But here you go, a couple weeks later, sounding all
Mm.
right, gearing up, ready to
Yep,
go.
feel a lot better. I think I slept for about 12 hours last night, so finally getting caught back up to almost healthy. My
Which
sinuses aren't really liking the 70 degree to 40 degree like it saw a cop, but that happens every year.
yes, every year about this time, the 12 seasons of winter and spring we have
Yeah,
here in
I lost
Indiana.
count of
So
which one we're at now.
yeah, I think we're getting ready to enter mud season. I think is about what it
That
is. So,
that looks about right.
but good to see you back amongst the living. Like you said, you got a lot of work to catch up on because
Hmm.
the Chicagoland Racers reunion memorabilia show is coming up here in
Yep.
about a week and a half now. By about a week when this
Yeah,
episode
it'll be about a week
drops.
when. Yep.
So that is our episode tonight. Welcome one of the organizers of the event, Steve Bechtel, on.
Yep. One of our I'd say favorite guests just because the script for the guidelines for this show are about 6 lines long because it's just Steve says something and then the outro.
Yeah, yeah, obviously Steve, having the short track news, the radio show a while ago, he comes pre-trained.
Yep.
So so we give him a topic and just break glass and kind of see where it goes. And
Yeah, a little behind the scenes back when Jeremy and I couldn't come up with an episode idea. Hey, what's Steve got going on this week?
it was either Steve or Tony,
Yeah,
and
well, Tony would usually, hey, I'm going to be the guest this week.
that's true. Tony would usually invite himself, which is
Yeah.
always good.
Hmm.
And in the next few weeks, we'll be starting our promoters roundtable. Steve and Tony will both be on separate
Yep.
episodes.
Plan on having at least Billy Alger trying to twist Billy Nippenberg's arm to get him back on to talk about Kankakee.
So a lot to come tonight. Yeah, like you said, eighth annual version of the Chicagoland Racing Memorabilia and Collectibles Show coming up on St. Patrick's Day. So St. Patrick's
Hmm.
Day special this time.
Oh man, I gotta find a green GP shirt.
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys have a neon fluorescent, green. So
That's true.
you're going to be hard pressed to get a lot of racers in green, though.
Yeah. Hey, Bobby Labonte pulled it off.
Bobby Labonte, Kyle Busch, there were several people that have raced green cars successfully. So I think that superstition is null and void.
Yeah. Also, you can have women in the pits, and chicken isn't terrible. Or
Right.
peanuts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we got coming on this week's episode in our guest segment. After that, we'll kind of recap a little bit what we're looking forward to on the show. And then I got some information, some news coming out about the South Bend Motor Speedway today, actually.
Yeah.
Kind of some updating schedule
That
and
was
whatnot.
definitely a kerfuffle.
Yeah, so we will kind of give our thoughts and opinions on that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel.
It's down there
Yeah, it's down
somewhere.
there somewhere at the bottom of the screen there. Do that, hit the bell to get notified when we drop new content. If you are an audio podcast listener, be on
Well,
Spotify.
then you can't see where I'm pointing.
You can't see nothing, which is probably we've got faces for radio anyway. So you're
Well,
really,
I'll admit I did listen to the last episode. I didn't watch it.
it is easier for some people to just listen on the go. So no harm, no foul. But if you are listening to the audio version, odds are probably Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever your podcast platform is. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Get notified again when we drop new episodes. We've been pretty well on top of things so far this season, knock on wood. We've been dropping them every couple of weeks as the
Yeah.
season.
Hey, where was our really cool preview video for this week?
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for something about that. I was, busy.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of footage of the memorabilia show. We're usually too busy selling pictures as opposed to taking pictures.
Yeah, and then we record at the show. So,
Yeah.
but the little promo video and some of the Instagram stuff, what we're doing at Illiana SCR on Instagram and Facebook. Keep track with us there. But yeah, kind of trying to play around with some stuff and get more engaging content. But last episode we had Lakeshore Drake Straka. Uh,
That's yeah. We had to up the God, what, quality.
yeah,
I
well,
mean, we're quality anyway. We're the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
hey, we're the best around right now.
I'll take
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But between the Pit Pal episode, we
Hey,
really
we're
went
my
ahead.
mom's favorite podcast.
I think we're my mom's as well. So I'll take it. Any way I can get it, I will take it.
There you go.
So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and bring in Steve Bechtel, like I said, one of the organizers of the Chicagoland Racing Memorabilia and Collectibles Show, and enjoy the interview that we did with him, and then we will be back after he's done.
Yep.
And welcoming in frequent flyer, organizer of the Chicagoland Racing Memorabilia and Collectibles Show, Mr. Steve Bechtel. Steve, thanks for coming on board this week.
Jeremy, Chris, great to see you guys again. It's been a long.
I would say the same, but you got
season.
like a logo there over where your face would be.
Well, I don't have a logo. You have a logo, so
Well, we're just hoping Jeremy can superimpose one. Otherwise, I don't know. I guess our ISCR logo's up.
Well, true, but also like we said, the technical ability, while limited, is there. At
We're
least
getting
enough.
better.
Yeah, we're slowly getting better, slowly improving.
I'll send you my preschool graduation picture. You guys can put that up.
Hey, man, whatever you want, we can throw
There
it
you
in.
go.
Give the people what they want. Is what I say.
Pretty sure I saw a picture of him on Facebook a week or so ago of 6-year-old Steve with his racing programs, and
I mean,
pretty much the same way it looks now.
Yeah, well,
I
Chris,
just came across a picture of my with Thanksgiving, but it was me and all my cousins in my grandma's yard. We were like 6 years old, and we were all drinking out of an old style can. You can't get away with that now, It was probably water or whatever. But
yeah, that's just disclaimer. Yeah, it was water.
The Cubs must have won, so we all had our old style cans going.
Or they lost. Either way,
There you go.
it's all pretty well appropriate.
You know what, Jeremy, you nailed it.
If you're a Chicago sports fan at all, it's been slim pickings around here.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, did we punch his frequent flyer card when he?
I think next episode is free.
Okay, is that it? Okay. I have to make sure to punch that on the way out. But
There you go.
yeah, obviously we got you on, this week at an event coming up, kind of what we label as the unofficial kickoff of the Chicagoland racing season. It is the 8th annual version this year of the Chicagoland Racing Memorabilia and Collectibles Show.
Right.
8th, right? 8th in its current iteration, but
Yeah.
obviously, Steve, it was kind of around before that, kind of the old show that Tommy Turtle had kind of championed and pioneered.
Yeah, Tommy Turtle, Stan Kawasinski. I was thinking about that earlier today. I want to say this is probably about the 33rd because they did it for close to 25 years. This started in the early 90s in my hometown, right down the street from Raceway Park. They had it one year in Blue Island. Then they branched out. They had it numerous years in, I can't think of the name, Homewood.
I remember the first time I went, it was in the basement of a hotel.
Yeah, in a hotel. And then they had it there for years. And then a couple of years was kind of cool. They had a Chicagoland Speedway in the garage area. And people always forget about that. And
I don't forget about it.
Well, a lot of the people, they haven't been to all of them like we have.
Yeah.
We have, Chris. And
not nerds.
Then it went to Piatone. And then, unfortunately, Tommy had some health issues. And Stan kind of took a step back and didn't do it for a few years. And I think we kind of, just kind of kept bugging him about bringing it back. And he was kind of steadfast. He didn't want to, after Tommy Turtle passed away, didn't pass away, but after he kind of stepped away from it, he just kind of didn't want to do it. And I told him, I said, well, Stan, we're going to take a shot at it and try to do it and bring it back and try to make the reunion part of it. And Stan was just gracious enough to help us with everything with vendor lists and fan list. And it was cool to to see it come back, it was cool to see Stan there and Tommy there for the
Mhm.
few years. And yeah, it's just like you say, Jeremy, the kind of unofficial start to the racing season, and it's man, it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a whole lot of fun. I know it's one we look forward to. I
Mhm.
usually come home with a little bit less money.
A
Uh,
lot of bit less money.
and you're like, you go there, Chris, to make money. What the
I
hell?
know. Well, I stop at Don Rich's table, and he's always got something cool. But when I used to bring Dad, I'd be setting up the table. We'd be working together for about 5 minutes, and then I'd turn around, and he's already looking through Stan's pictures, so I got to do the rest by myself.
Well, I mean, this year you'll have Brian there, so I mean,
Well, yeah.
it'd be really no different, right?
No, because Brian doesn't have anywhere near the abs. Has to go through absolutely every picture Stan brings that Dad did.
I figure he's not here. We can pick on him.
Well, yeah. That's. Well, okay. It's not really his choice. He didn't schedule his union meetings, but yeah. I mean, I heard what y'all said about me last time.
Are you basically saying, Jeremy, that Brian's not going to do anything at the show? Is that what you're saying?
He's a man of the people, but that's all I gotta say.
He's definitely a man of the people.
I still have a hunch Christopher will be doing most of the work.
Well, I know where everything's at.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Chris, do you have any idea how many of these you've been to?
Off the top of my head, no, but I know I haven't missed one since the one I went to, and I think it was the last year they had it in the hotel, and I've been to every one since then.
Wow, they probably had it there about 10 years, so you maybe missed about 10 of them. So if this is 33, you've been to 23.
There you go.
That's pretty
yeah. We've had a table ever since you've done it. I know we've had a table. I can't remember if we had one when Stan was running it or not. It might have been when Dad and I were still shopping.
The years kind of blur together because
I've
luckily I've been to all of them, and it's cool to just see all the stuff in the last 30 plus years that they've had, and to see a lot of times it's the same people, same vendor, fans kind of coming to that, all the different memories with the the drivers, the early shows when Stash Coleman would show up, and Ted Bud Kaler, and a lot of those guys was kind of cool to see that do. But yeah, just thankful to kind of keep it going. My partner Jim, who wants to kill me 99% of the time,
he's not alone in that.
Wow.
You want to kill me for different. You want to kill me for Grundy reasons. He wants to kill me.
For
reunion reasons. But
I see the people coming with the pitchforks for you, Steve.
That's why I'm blacked out on the screen, Jeremy. I don't want people to know where I'm at.
Yeah, I want to know what convenience store you were just leaving.
Yeah. So no, it's been just a cool deal as as somebody that just like I was like you, Chris. I would go as a fan. I would go a vendor. Now I'm on the other side of it. I kind of helping run the thing, and it's crazy. I know, the part about like you guys talk about going and coming home with a lot less money in your pocket. And I remember telling people this, almost embarrassingly telling people this, that when Raceway Park closed, I'm a big Raceway Park fan, grew up there. When they closed, I kind of thought, man, everything's going to come out of the woodwork. Everybody's going to go in their basement, get their grandpa's collection, and this and this and this and this. And I remember those first couple of shows going to the show with $1,000 in my pocket. Just not hoping I don't spend it, but just
just in case.
Yeah, that's why Jeremy and I don't bring that.
Yeah, like if somebody had like a full collection of programs or all these pictures or something, I don't want to lose time running to a cash station. I come back, the guy sold it or whatever. Thankfully, I never had I never spent that much, but and it, believe me, it fluctuated over the years. It's just, man, the amount of stuff that you see, and stuff you didn't even realize was, when you're sitting there looking at a Cale Yarborough whiskey decanter from the 70s, and you're just like, man, those are kind of cool. Do I want them? Yeah, I want them, but do I need them? No, I'm not going to get them. Just crazy amount of stuff that you guys see there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of vendors on tap for this year. Obviously, the last few years still kind of bouncing back from the time that was COVID and everything.
Yeah,
kind of got back to normal a little bit last year, but now I see 80 potential vendors this year, Steve.
Yeah, the 2 COVID years, I mean, point blank, it just killed us. Trying to do it. We do it where we do it because it doesn't interfere with a lot of people's racing schedules, and it was tradition, and a lot of people always kind of knew when the date was. So when we had to move it to August, that really, having it in the summer just really, a lot of these vendors that come do these shows, a lot of them do this stuff, year round. They go to different,
Mm-hmm.
talk to a guy that normally comes to our show. He's been to every single one of them, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I can't make it." He goes, I go to Bristol, and I sell there, and I do very well there selling my stuff. And for some reason, NASCAR decided to move it from April to March,
Right.
same weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
he can't do it. So we did it in August. We lost a lot of vendors. Everybody, was still, do I wear the mask? Do I not wear the mask? Screw it. I'm not wearing the mask. Screw it. I'm not in the house without the mask. So it was crazy. Last year was, I think our second year past the August date, and it really bounced back. It was probably the best show that we had, attendance wise, vendor wise. And this year we're right about on cue for that. Like I said, with our dates kind of fluctuated a little bit with the hall, and that kind of screwed us up a little bit because we had a set date locked in. Then it kind of got moved forward this year, so it's a week earlier than it normally would be, and that's again is kind of throwing off some of our vendors. But no, we're at 80, and I'm still, I'm 80, could be 95, depending on all these people that are reaching out to me, like, save me a table, I want a table, and everything like that. So no, it looking strong there. Some, obviously we lost a few vendors that can't make it, and they'll be back next year. But when you lose some, you get new people. So that's kind of cool to, wonder what kind of stuff that they have every time a new vendor reaches out, and I kind of wonder what they got. So that's good. And I think the weather too is going to help this year. I mean, obviously it looks to be nice, but I think everybody's just, the last month they've been wanting to get out of the house. The weather's been so good. They're doing more stuff out. And again, I just I hope people come and support it and have a great time there.
Yeah, certainly, around here, it seems like like if it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
40-degree day and sunny, I mean, people are outside, kids are playing
Mm-hmm.
basketball in the street or something like that. I think everybody's just itching to get out.
Yeah, it's and like I said, it's a cool thing. It's, it's on a weekend. It's only, 4 hours long. You can do the floor rights and come early, and we get a lot of people that do that, that like to look at the stuff where they're not having to fight off, 10 other people at the table looking at stuff. And it's nice to
Yeah, no, that was Dad's favorite thing when he figured that out because we would always be like first in line, and then, well, why don't we just spend some more money and then go spend some more money?
Yeah, again, it's nothing we created. We just carried on the tradition. But yeah, floor rights gets you in for, 2.5 hours earlier while they're setting up. And I can't tell you, I did that every time when I wasn't a seller. Before I had the show, I would do it early because I'd go and I'd see everything. I'd spend money. I'd be going back and forth to my car while all these people are in line waiting to get in, and here I am buying all the stuff that they wanted to buy just because I went in earlier and looked. And yeah, I just couldn't live with myself if I walked in at 10:05 and I saw somebody walking out with like the Holy Grail Raceway Park item that I wanted because they paid to get in at 7:30. So yeah, we offer that. And like I said, it's a nice, you can go there, you can eat breakfast, you can eat lunch, the bar's open, you can have a beer, you can bench race with people. It's a good time. And again, just the amount of stuff there is just unreal.
I can guarantee a portion of that.
Well, and Chris, let's not understate it. I sent out a newsletter, actually an email blast, I should say, to all of our followers yesterday, and I actually included you in it because I said new this year. Chris Goodacre and his family, got the Andy Grad photo collection, and that's almost 30 years worth of photos.
Yep.
And
So I
from
know
Illiana,
for
yeah.
years and years and years, Dad and I were hoping that Andy would, have a table at the show, and it's actually at the show that this all came about because Andy wasn't looking to sell piecemeal like we are. He was looking to sell everything. So Dad said, "Well, what do you want for it?" And it was either right at the start or right at the end of COVID. I can't remember which end it was, but yeah, we went over and brought him a check and came home with an ungodly amount of racing stuff.
Yeah, that like I said, I can't imagine the job every time I've talked to you, Chris, which is why you want to kill me. In the off season saying, "Hey, I need this for Grundy. I need this for Grundy," and you're like, "Bechtel, I'm trying through 12
Yeah.
pictures right now," and man, that would be tough for me because I like got to look at every. You know what I mean? It's not like boom, 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 sort them by number, sort them by division, however you're doing them.
I had to force myself to sort them just boom, 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 and
Yeah,
you know, there was a couple times I sent you some pictures, I sent Jeremy some pictures. Like, you know, we got to stop and pause, and you know, the one feature that Dan Odell won is like, you know, that's a moment in history. That's you know, one
yeah.
of my favorite pictures. It's a picture that, you know, to people not in our circle, and well, it's a car in victory lane. So what? But there's a lot of story behind that. And there's the other one that we were talking about. You wanted me to post. Like, well, I don't know if I want to stir up any negative feelings, but you know, if you saw the picture and you were there that night, you know what happened. I heard through the grapevine somebody's got video of that night too.
Oh, I was surprised. I didn't know what you meant. I'll talk about it. I don't have a problem talking about it.
Hey, yeah, I mean, hey, it's
All right.
you're dying to spill it.
Blame me, and no, this was it was Night of Features. I want to say 2001. It was like the first year
Okay.
after
I knew it was early 2000s.
Raceway Park closed, and me and I was helping Bill Nearing at the time for those first 5, 6, 7 years after Raceway closed, and we're there, running mid-am series for the first time, and there was an incident in the track in the I want to say it was Mid American. It could have been late model though. I don't remember.
I don't. I'll have to look at what else I got from that year, which division he was running.
He ran both, but Rob Workmeister, always a character, good guy to talk to and just laugh with in the pits. He, something happened on the track and he was upset and he was talking with some of the other drivers that I believe that got into it, and it just turned into this whole bizarre. I remember Gene, and again, if you were at Grundy, not so much in the last maybe 10 years, but if you know Gene from the 90s and early 2000s, the security guard, they're trying to break up this ruckus on the track, and they're trying to get the drivers off and the cars off, and here comes Gene on the golf cart, and the crowd just went nuts. Like, okay, here's security gonna take care of this, and they were chasing him all over the. And then
I remember at one point he laid down on the track trying.
Yeah.
I go in front of this car.
Yeah, and I just know it ended where he ended up throwing his helmet into the grandstand. And I didn't see this until I was there live, obviously, but like 7 years later, I picked up a video from that night, and they actually catch him throwing the helmet into the stands, and I'm like, man, that was just, again, if you were there, it's one of those just stick out. So yeah, if anybody out there listening wants some of Rob Workmeister from the early 2000s or Eddie Hoffman and Midwest.
Oh yeah, I've got some like baby and Eddie Hoffman pictures.
Yeah, Dan Odell's only feature win. It's
I got some baby Pat Kelly pictures too.
Yeah, a lot of Pat Kelly stuff. Just everybody. It's cool. I always thought it's cool to see guys start off in a pure stock or a street stock, move up, the Mid-American Sportsman division, late model. I mean, I saw one picture he had like Brett Sontag in a mid-am car.
Yep. I got his pretty much his whole career.
And yeah, it's just cool.
I got several generations of Olsons in various cars.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you're a Grundy fan, come on out, and it's worth the price of admission alone.
I got Illiana stuff too. I don't even remember going through the Illiana stuff. It's amazing how many cars I remembered and how many cars I had no memory of, but clearly were on the track at some point.
See, I couldn't have looked through them. I'd still be like on the first box. I remember this car.
Well, good news is you have floor rights to your own show.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the only negative of doing this show is that before we get there Saturday and we set up, and we do set up and then we hang out and shoot the crap and just hang out and have fun with my buddies that all help me set up. And then you're there Sunday bright and early. I'm there at 7 o'clock, getting the building open for the vendors to come in at 7:30, and before you know it, it's like 2, 3 o'clock, and it's like, there a couple years ago, I never even got to walk around, and that's the only part I don't like about it. Is you're so busy dealing with stuff, and you're talking to vendors, or fans, or just whatever, and you just really don't get a chance to go around and see what everybody got.
Yeah,
But
usually I can con Brian into watching the table so I can do like one, maybe 5 minute lap and, drop 200 at Don Rich's booth, and that was it.
yeah, Don, and it's cool that you got the same kind of people. You always got, Don, and there's some other guys that are always selling the custom diecast, the custom model cars of the guys that raced, 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up till now. And then you got Stan, and you got a guy like Doug Hack. You got, obviously Goodacre Photography, a bunch of people that all offer pictures from different tracks and genres, and, Urco, ASA, stuff like that, even early NASCAR stuff. And then, you move over to the next table, and here's a guy with, USAC programs, Indy 500 stuff. And it's just like, it's like every table is something, completely different. Back, and there's, the guy with 7 tables, Ken, my bud. I love Ken. Ken, he does those reproduction posters, and he's been with me ever since we've done them. And I think he's done them even before. And, the vendor form, you fill it out, you send it to me, and it always says, what do you specialize in? Because when we set up the tables, we don't want to put 3, somebody selling Illiana pictures. We don't want to have 3 guys in a row selling, so we try to space you guys out.
Oh, so you mean I'm going to be like far apart from Stan?
Yeah, you guys.
You're gonna be right across from each other.
I'd be okay with that, because I don't have to go far.
Everything Stan sells is black and white, so if that tells you his era versus what you sell, so it's kind of a little bit different than what you do. But getting back to this guy, every year he sends in the form, and it says, "What do you specialize in?" And he puts the good stuff. That's all he puts, and I crack up every year. I know it's coming, but man, to see those.
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to get creative now.
Yeah, those reproduction posters from the 60s and 70s, all the, what the tracks used to hang out on telephone poles and at the speedway and stuff like that. That's cool. And like I said, there isn't one thing that you could name that they don't, that they really don't have. Like I said, they got pictures and programs. That's a gimme. But there's trophies. There's press kits. I'm looking through stuff that I was selling one year that I didn't even got it, and I'm like, oh hey, I got a press kit from 1981, Mountain Dew, Darrell Waltrip. I'm like, I don't remember how I got this, and I'm selling it, but it's books and DVDs and driver suits, helmets, body. Guy me, he's bringing some late model doors from big time late model guys that raced in the area back in the day, and it's no, it's just cool to see so many different things under one roof that you can come and check out.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned your mail blast with what's new, and you highlighted Goodacre Photography there, and their new set of pictures coming. Anything else new standing out to you this year?
It's unfortunately, like I said, with Chris, I knew that that was coming. I mean, we got new vendors, and they kind of say what they're we bring diecast, and we bring programs, and we bring this, but no, it's really you don't really know what's going to show up until it shows up. Even some of the guys that we deal with that sell the same stuff year to year, they had a whole year to pick up more stuff. It's like, here's this guy, like I remember him, he always had a one table just of books, and it's like, oh yeah, I sold all my books, and now check this out, I got this stuff this year, and hero cards, and so again, I guess to answer your question, it's you never know what's going to show up. I just again, and to quote Ken, it's the good stuff. And like I said, we got over 80 tables of stuff that that's going to be there. And like I said, it's just, even if you don't buy anything, I mean, we prefer you do. Our vendors prefer you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even
make our purchase worth it.
Yeah, even if you just come in and check the show out and just see the stuff, it's
help me make back my table fee.
Yeah. and you got different people. I mean, you got people that they're like my buddy Mitch I was talking about that's going to Bristol. I mean, these guys are like hardcore diecast. They get all the brand new stuff, and they'll come set up, and they'll have 300 cars set up, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it used to be I would just drag. Oh, he's on that side. I'd drag Jeremy with, okay, what cars do I have?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
so
was encyclopedia there for a little while.
it's cool to see that, but then, like I said, there's also people that are just like you, Chris. You would kind of put you in the middle. It's not like you're really going buying stuff week to week, but this is just all your photos over the years. You had a whole new thing, and you're selling pictures, and then right next to Chris could be a guy that's just cleaning out his basement, selling Racing Champion 164 for $1, just to get rid of them. So it's really, like I said, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You go and you kind of see the guys that are, set up for, you can tell they go show to show, and they got the shelves behind them and stuff's, piled up to the ceiling and this, and it's all labeled price wise and this and this. And then you got guys that are like, here's a big plastic tote, look through it. Anything you can find in there is $2. And you buy 3 of them, it's $5. And
Hey, that guy's a good guy.
yeah, no, those are like I said, those are popular with the kids. You walk through,
No,
you
for sure.
got guys like that. The kids are there, and Dad, can I get something? Can I get something? Yeah, pick something for the $2 bin, and all before you know it, you get 5 things out of there, but you didn't even spend $10 on them. So that's
it's funny you said that. We just did the Larson's trade show down in Lafayette a couple weeks ago. And literally, his daughter wanted one old picture that we were selling for $1. So her dad gave him her 20, and I think she went back with like $4 and change.
yeah. Well, again, you make
inflation, Chris. Inflation.
Well, yeah,
you make stuff affordable. It's and again, some stuff you can't. You got diecast is a diecast. Sometimes you got to get a minimum $50 out of it because you got 40 into it. So I get that, but then there's also people that are selling stuff for $1. So we really got anything that will fit your budget. Put it that way. Everybody likes the deal. I mean, you go to I know you, Chris. If people are buying more than one or
if you buy a stack, I'll make you a deal.
Yeah, I mean Ken with his reproduction like that. I know Stan is. You start taking pictures out. Back when I used to go buy, I would just sit there and I'd take one out and I'd take one out. I'd take one out. I'd take one. And at the end, I'm like, all right, I got 27 pictures. What do you need? And he just gives you a discount on it. I mean, everybody.
Yep, Dad was exactly the same way. Stan, look at him, roll his eyes, and just make up a number.
Yeah. I remember one year I bought probably the first 15 years of Stock Car Racing magazine. So it started in 67. So I got like 67 to like 81, 82 or whatever. And I walked by and I saw this guy, before the show even opened. It was like $10 a year, which for $1 an issue ain't bad at all.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And especially for that old. And I kept walking up, and then the show started and I walked, and nobody's really by his table. And 10 o'clock, 10:30, I walk by and I'm like, how much if I buy, a couple of years? And you buy 2 or 3. He goes, I'll give them to you for $7 a year. And at the end of the day, he was like, nobody had bought anything. It said, how much for all of them? And he goes, if you buy every one, I'll give them to you for $5 a year. He goes, I don't want to bring these home. I'm in my car, bringing them to the next show. My wife hates me. So we just switched. I bought them all, put them in my car, brought them home, and then my wife hated me, so I understood where he was coming from. And I threw them in a closet, and for about a year and a half, I pulled out 67. I put it like kind of under my bed at the head, and then I'd go to bed and I would read April 67, whatever the first issue was, and then a week later I'd move on to the next one, and then it was like a library book. Like I read 1967 first, 1968. And then the beauty part of it, this is how old this was. So this had to be the late 90s, because when I was done with them, my wife was like, "Oh, we're gonna throw these out now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna sell them on eBay." Now I had just discovered eBay, and no lie, I sold these. I did individual. I didn't sell them by the year. I started selling individual, and I made about $3,300. These issue by, like, I put April, whatever the first issue was, I put it up and it was like $67 it sold for. And I was like,
wow,
that's almost what I paid for all of them.
Yeah, that's a hell of a return on
There you
investment.
go.
Yeah, I put the next one up. It was like 42. And again, this was, 20 something years ago. the first time that people across the country can kind of reach out to other people. And so all these people that were like trying to fill out their collection, man, I got every issue except 7, or something like that. So yeah, listened to them issue by issue and sold every one of them. And it was just under like $3,300 that I made. And I was like, yeah, you want me to throw
There you go.
good shoe?
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, you mentioned it too. If you wait around long enough, you something your eye on, you kind of wait around until 130. Man, people don't want to put that stuff back away. Put it back in
Yeah.
the truck so you can wheel
Yeah,
and deal
I
a little bit.
know just the way I organize the pictures, they're not going to fit back on the shelf right. So I need to sell stuff.
Yeah, Chris is like, just bring a check, and I don't want to load my car. I'll give you everything we got, but no, it's 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 like deal or no deal, or it's like going to a pawn shop. Sometimes you sit there, and I used to have people that would come up to me like during when I was selling stuff, and they'd be there at 9 o'clock, and I would put like some old obscure model out there that was like $90, like easily worth $90-$100, and I'd list it for like $90, and the guy would come up, I'll give you 50 for it right now, and I'm like, no, the show. Yeah, that's what you say to me 5 hours from now, not now.
Right.
People even came in, and yeah, I could still picture this guy's face. He came by half hour later. What about 60? I'm like, what at the end of the show? And then he came by at the end, and I'm like, no, I sold her for 90. What I wanted for 90. And no, so it's cool. Like I said, the deal of it. Funny story. Just 2 real quick. I want to tell about Jim McCarthy, my partner in this deal. If you're like, I'm a Raceway guy, we always say, and he's a Santa Fe guy. Those were our 2 home tracks that we grew up at and kind of grew up loving as kids and stuff like that. But I remember Jim from probably one of the last Homewood shows that we did, and I had a table and I had it all set up, and I was walking around looking at stuff, and I see this guy walk in, and he has like, it's almost like a little like tackle box. It was like a little just hand, like smaller than a hand toolbox. And I just see him walking in, and he's walking around, and he's talking to Stan, and he's just sitting there, and then he's talking to Stan, and then he sits for another half hour. And finally, like right before the show starts, I see Stan bring him over next to my table, and it was empty. And he goes, this guy never showed up, so I'll sell you his table. So Jim wanted to come sell, and he just didn't get in time. They were sold out, but a guy canceled that day, and he got a table. So I'm looking at this guy, and it's like 2 minutes to opening the doors, and he has this little thing. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? What he has like this little tackle box. It was the weirdest thing. And then he opens them up, and he starts laying this stuff out, and it was all the window decals from all the former drivers, the Ed Hoffman sticker, the Frank Galinsky 14 with the name and the car. And he fills up his whole table with them because they were just so small they would fit in this little box. And the show opened, and I didn't see the guy the rest of the day because there were so many people at his table. I couldn't see past the back of their heads. And this guy probably had to sell 500 stickers. And I'm thinking, well, never judge a tackle box by its and we became friends after that. Like I said, he wants to kill me half the time with so many things that we do. But
Well, I know he's still got the stickers. Does he still have the tackle box?
I don't know. He might have that baby, and it's hanging on his wall. I always
might be good luck now.
How he walked in, but no, he does all the the former Chicago area guys. A lot of their stickers, Santa Fe stuff. He does some Arco, some ASA, some USAC stuff. He does a lot of the Santa Fe Speedway shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. But it's like I said, you just never, you never know that you walk table to table, and one guy has brand new die cast from 2024, just from the Daytona 500 a month ago, and then the guy next to him is Don Rich with a model from 1966 of some guy, and people are lined up, and I've seen guys come to the show where they literally pay to get in. Don's usually at that first table right to the right, and they'll walk by him, they'll pay him for a car, and they leave. It's just like we can walk around, but
we see the rest of it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of.
I gotta start putting Don at the far end too. Jeez.
Yeah, we got to start. Well, that is one thing. Actually, you did kind of jar my memory a little bit. Is one thing that will be a little bit new, not that big of a deal, is I believe we were going to put the reunion aspect on the other side of the building in the far corner where the guy usually sells the reproduction posters. Because where we had it set up, it was just really congested, right over there where you kind of transition into the bar.
Mhm.
The for people that haven't been there, it's like a long building, and in between the two sides, there's a bar in the middle. And right to the left of the first room is where the reunion would be, and there'd be people sitting down, being interviewed, answering questions, and people would be sitting, watching the interviews, and then somebody would walk by that so it got really, really congested. It was hard for people to get through into the bar area. A lot of people never even made it into that section. And that, to me, that's a problem. I need to have these people walk throughout the whole building and see every.
Yeah, I remember having to chase down a few people.
Yeah, so I had a guy last year, which kind of cemented it for me, that he came over to the other side, the first side where you pay to get in, and I was working the front gate, and he walked up to, I don't know, get a egg and sausage breakfast sandwich or something like that, and he came over and he goes, "Man," he goes, "it's night and day," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's like 400 people on this side, and there's like 50 on the other side," and he goes, "You really got to find a way to get these people to walk all the way through, even if they're not purchasing stuff, at least some foot traffic, and you might buy something you didn't know you needed until you saw it." So that's one thing that we're still trying to work out the the logistics and how we want to set it up and stuff like that. But we want to be able to open up the walkway in between the two rooms, and then if you're kind of there more so for the reunion, that's fine too. But we just kind of want you to walk the room, and at least, like I said, maybe you might see something that like you might normally not see because you're saying you're staying on side number one. But other than that, like I said, nothing really changing other than, like I said, some of the vendors, some of the stuff that you're gonna see. But like I said, just really looking forward to getting everybody out there and seeing everybody, and kind of this sounds bad, but I just want to kind of get this done in my rear mirror. There's so much other Grundy stuff that we got.
Oh yeah, it's not like Grundy's got anything going on this year.
Yeah, nothing there.
And I look forward to talking to you guys about that. But yeah, there's just so much stuff.
Yeah, that's going to fill up a whole episode by itself.
Yeah, a lot to talk about here in the next couple of weeks. And obviously we'll have you back in a few weeks, starting her Racers Roundtable, Promoters Roundtable, I guess is a little more accurate. Previewing the 2024 Grundy County Speedway season.
What do you? I just saw the announcement. It kind of wasn't a surprise, but man, what do you guys think? South Bend Speedway, their final program.
They beat us to it.
Yeah, I was going to get the second segment, but anyway, I might as well address it all right here. It's it's one of those deals where it's sad. We don't want to lose tracks. Lord knows we're not building them.
Yeah, us three have been through that down that process a few times. Yeah.
It's bad when it happens more than once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember when Raceway closed, I was like, oh my, I think life's going to go on. And then I went to Illiana. I'd always gone to Grundy, but Illiana just never coincided. I was always the same. So I started going to Illiana, met so many great people at Illiana, so many friends that I can, have to this day, and competitors. And then, that went about 15 years, and then that closed, and I was like, oh my God. And then Rockford. I mean, that was, Rockford was the only track that I would really go to that I would just be able to enjoy it. I wasn't, I worked at Raceway, I did a million things at Raceway. I worked at Illiana, so I kind of missed out on stuff, as a fan or a crew guy versus having to work there. But when I would go to Rockford for, Spring Classic, or I would go there for Short Track Championship weekend or the Bahama Brackets, it was just like fun the whole weekend. And that was what I really looked forward to. And to that, now, so now it's just like, man, and I know it hits you different based on what tracks you go to. I mean, obviously Rockford hit a lot harder for me than like a South Bend would, a track that I've never been to before. But yeah, it just it hurts when you start to start losing more than one at a time here. So yeah, they gonna run one show, and they're gonna do some Crash Fest stuff, and yeah, we lost two of them in basically 6 months.
Yeah, that's kind of why the Racers Reunion aspect of this memorabilia show is kind of so important to keep the memory of these racetracks going.
Yeah, and I wish we could get more of a reach to get some of these people out there. It seems like a lot of the, the people that do show up are Raceway Park Santa Fe, but every once in a while you'll see, an Arco guy there, or you'll see an Illiana guy or some Grundy guys. And, it's kind of hard. I mean, he's obviously a legend, but it's kind of hard to call somebody a legend while they're still racing. You see Larry Schuler there. It's just magical because, I feel bad. He can't even make it across the room without people stopping him and talking to him.
We're guilty of that.
Yeah. And he has so many great stories, and has such,
yeah, I think we got better stories out of him off the air than while we were recording. Of course, the ones that he shared off the air we couldn't record anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He just had so many stories that we've talked to him. I was fortunate enough one time to Rick Bill, who does the Victory Lane show, WSPY FM up in like around the Yorkville area. He called me and asked me if I'd come and co-host with him one show. So I came out there and I said, who's your guest? And he goes, we got Larry Schuler. And I was like, oh, baby, this is, you get to ask Larry Schuler stories. And it just flowed. And he just talked about this and he talked about that. And just, so many, I'll tell one just because other people have heard this probably before, but if you haven't, you hear Larry tell it that his dad was tight with the pennies, without not wanting to spend a lot of money, and he would go like out of town to some of these big shows. He'd get there late. He wouldn't pre-register, nothing like that. And he goes, he went to one show, I think it was Hartford, and he gets there late and he goes to sign in and they want to charge him X amount of money. And he goes, you guys are going to charge me to get in, even though you used my name without permission. And he had the flyer with him. And he goes, well, who are you? And again, this is, the 70s. And, people working the gate probably weren't race people. They were just maybe kids, like just signing people in. And he goes, not only did you use my name without permission, but you spelled it wrong too. And he goes, well, what's your name? And he goes, I'm Manny Moore. And he goes, look at here, Mark Martin, Larry Deachins, Bob Seneker, and many more. He goes, you spelled my name wrong, Manny Moore. I went back and forth, and I think they ended up letting him in for free. And he goes, the whole time he's arguing about getting in free, there's 7 of us hiding in the tow vehicle that snuck to get in, and he's arguing about paying one pit pass. And
I can't remember if it was that same story, but I heard him tell that story, and I think the front end of it was Larry. They were driving down the highway, and Larry was hanging on the bottom of the trailer working on the car while Lee was driving it.
No, you know what, Chris, that's actually in an interview that I did with Woody Church, another race, Illiana Grundy guy. And man, this is an interview I did with Woody probably 20 years ago. And he would talk about how much fun everybody had. He goes, we would run Grundy on Sunday afternoon, and then we'd all hightail it out of there and try to make Raceway for Sunday night. And he goes, I'd be going down the highway. We'd get up, we'd load up, get on 80 and go right to Raceway Park. And Lee Schuler would pass me. And in the dugout of the trailer, Larry's underneath the car on I-80, changing the gear, the rear end gear on the way. And I was just like blown away by the story. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to interview guys from the 60s and 70s, man, it's a whole different kind of story. So when you get to talk to these guys at the reunion, and a lot of them just want to tell their stories. A lot of these haven't really talked racing, and so Jim, my partner with the show, kind of goes out of his way and makes, gets a little sign-in sheet for him and gets name tags so you can see, who some of these people are. Because I remember before we took the show over, the show went on, and I'd be selling at my table, and I'd see some guy, and I'm like, man, that guy looks familiar. And then he'd walk by and he'd leave. And a minute later, my buddy was like, hey, did you see Ray Parra just left? And I'm like, that was Ray Parra. Oh my God. I totally talked to him. And I got pictures here with me that he could have signed. And so, Jim thinks it's real important, to have the name tags on to go around and talk to him and stuff like that.
Yeah, and this is for anybody that has not been to the Racers Reunion, the memorabilia show, these are the kind of stories that usually will always come out, whether it's actually
Hmm.
on the stage during the interviews or just in somebody's booth. People bench racing. It's always you always walk past just people having these conversations.
Hmm.
Yeah, you walk by and you're like, you did what after the race? And then all of a sudden you turn your head the other way and there's somebody else talking about a different story. And Chris, I'm going to put out a challenge. Well, actually, to
Oh,
both.
geez.
And Jeremy, I'm not 100% aware of like maybe your past history at the tracks, how far back you go. I know a little bit
Mhm.
about Chris, but I'm going to challenge you guys. I know that when you guys usually do like a live show from there, or at least
Yep.
you tape and then you put it out. But I'm going to put a challenge out to you to try to stay away from the current drivers. To me, that's too easy to pick a guy that raced last year at Grundy. And if I got to help you, I will. But I want to see you guys try to interview as many of these former drivers as you can.
Well, I think last year we were this close to getting Tom Rose, and he decided he wasn't in it for the glory. It's like, well, tell your stories anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell them
even
anyways.
if you sit them down for 5-10 minutes or something. But and again, I'll try to maybe steer if I see a guy come in that maybe you guys don't recognize, and maybe you know the name, but you're like, oh wow, I would have never even recognized them. But yeah, those, you know, once those stories are gone, they're gone.
Hmm.
And against somebody racing today, but I don't want to hear a story about a 22-year-old kid running at Grundy right now when his
Yeah,
stories.
we had Sinerch on last year.
Yeah, we can have 50 years worth of stories. I'd love for you to, like I said, for the Larry Schuler type guys. If if I see
Well,
walking around.
since you're the in charge guy, hopefully we're far enough in front of the reunion to get people walking past our table.
Yeah, well, I was gonna put you like right past the reunion. There's like the bathroom right there. I was gonna put you.
Oh,
Ooh.
we're in the bathroom.
Yeah, but
Well, it's gonna be a visit. It's a high traffic area. I mean, really.
since I threw the challenge out, maybe I'll move your table.
Well, back at Illiana, our photo booth used to be right between the beer garden and the bathroom, so we got traffic all.
Oh yeah, you were made.
Yeah, you got traffic, but you just didn't want to take anybody's money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just set it on the counter.
It'd be
Yeah.
really nice if you could tap your phone back then.
Yeah. But no, like I said, there's going to be a lot of these guys, going around, and like I said, to be able to hear some of
Yeah,
those.
the more we can get to sat down.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, spoilers on our next episode. We're going to be recording a bunch of interviews at the show.
Yep,
yeah,
that's kind of our annual memorabilia show racers reunion episode that we record on site and we put out there. So I know we've had Larry Schuler on a couple years
Yeah.
ago. That was one of our more popular episodes. So it's usually a hit, and now we've been challenged. So
yeah. Like I said, I got to see who walks through the door now. Now I got to see somebody and be like, you know what, Goodacre, come here. I want to show you. I want to somebody or something like that. But no, all your interviews are great, guys. Appreciate what you guys do for the racing community here in the Midwest. But like I said, there's nothing. I don't know how. I mean, I love Jacob Sinercha, but I don't know how many great stories he has about hanging out in the garage, or hanging out till 2 o'clock in the morning after the races, compared to some of these other guys. These old timers just have so many just amazing stories that they.
I think Jeremy just wanted to grill him for info on the mini cups.
that's usually it.
Right?
It's ulterior motive, really. I mean, that's
Jacob, you've had a great season. What's your split in the rear on stagger and tire pressures of hypothetically?
yeah. Just hypothetically speaking, what gearing are you running? Like,
Yeah. No, but it's no, I appreciate the opportunity, guys. Real quick, I'll just kind of give it a quick kind of who, what, when, and where.
Yep.
It's the 8th annual Racing Memorabilia and Collectible Show, along with the Racing Reunion, March 17th in Peatone, Illinois, at the Will County Fairgrounds, right off of I-57, 710 Southwest Street in Peatone, Illinois. It's right on the Will County Fairgrounds property. You'll see the atrium building, where you'll see all the cars around there, though. And it runs 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. You can get in at 7:30 if you want to do the floor rights, and then that means you get in from 7:30 all the way till 2 p.m. Plenty of free parking. They do have a great, actually pretty, really good kind of cafeteria area where they start off with breakfast stuff in the morning, and then around 10:30 they transition to a lunch menu. So they got plenty to eat, plenty to drink, a bar open. I mean, the bar's open at I, I remember a few years ago I had Alex Gay helping me selling my stuff, and she said, you got to buy me the first Bloody Mary. And I went there and I said, "What time is the bar open?" She goes, "We opened 1 minute ago. It was like 10 o'clock." So I got Alex Gay a Bloody Mary at 10 o'clock, and she was happy selling my stuff. But yeah, come in and have some beers or have a drink, and like I said, you can walk around, see some cool merchandise, see former drivers, bench race, and like I said, it's just a great opportunity to kind of get in that, out of the house and kind of get in that racing mode before we start doing our every single weekend racing deal that we all seem to be doing.
Yep. And well, Steve, we appreciate you coming on this evening. And then you mentioned the everyday weekly deal. It's going to be starting here before you know it. And we'll have you back here and probably within the next month, I would say, and talking about everything you can expect from the Grundy County Speedway.
Yeah, only 48 minutes today, guys. So this is my shortest show we've ever done with you guys. But again, just appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about the show. Hope we get to see a lot of you people out there listening, coming out and seeing Jeremy, seeing Chris, stopping at. Again, I'm looking forward to just looking at those pictures. You got pictures that are 40 years old, Chris, that people
I do.
haven't really seen before, or haven't seen in 40
I know
years.
there's some that I've never seen.
Yeah, there's it's cool to see drivers that raced back then. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the show. They got pictures from when I raced. So I mean,
I've already sent out a couple, not so much accusatory messages, but hey, I got this stack of pictures of you.
Yeah, well, there you go. And
that's how we bait them in, Chris.
Yeah.
We get the pictures and then we do the interview.
There you go. Well,
So
in that
again,
case, Randy Weiss better be there buying some pictures and doing an interview.
And if he's not, I'm sure you'll know where his pit pad is on opening day.
Yep.
On May 4th. So again, guys, thanks for everything that you do. Looking forward to another great year with you guys. Looking forward to talking to you in the next month or so about Grundy, and just keep on doing what you do, guys. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks,
Yep,
Steve.
thank
We'll
you.
be catching up with you soon. And that was Steve Bechtel. I want to thank him for coming on the show. And like I said, I got that frequent flyer card.
Yep. Next one's free. He'll have punched his way to, I don't want to say co-host, but I guess if we do a Hall of Fame.
The Ring of Honor here. He's definitely in it as well. But lots to look forward to. The Racers Reunion, the memorabilia show coming up here in about a
buy
week.
some pictures from me. I don't want to bring them home. There's way too many of them.
Yeah, I got a lot of
and there's a lot of memories in there. You among several people that I don't want to say complained to, but maybe not spoken so positively about the sorting experience. The last 3 months, I have just been living at my kitchen table, going through boxes and boxes and boxes of pictures.
Oh, I can imagine. And
good God, there's a lot. There's probably, I'm gonna say, at least 75,000 pictures.
That's a lot of zeros. That's a lot of zeros.
And I know the prints are just kind of scattered. They're not organized by year. They're organized by, as much as I could, driver or car number. But I know we have negatives that go back to 1982. So there are legitimately 30 years of pictures.
That's a lot, and especially, kind of Steve kind of alluded to it with his challenge that he gave us of kind of getting some of the, I don't want to say older. I don't want to say it's a little more derogatory. We'll be positive.
The vintage racers.
The vintage racers.
Okay, so I got a story that's related to that.
All right.
We've got, we bench race a little bit, and we talk about, sitting in the stands watching, the people that we looked up to race. And our job, my job specifically for this reason, is such a wild experience that, you can go from talking to your friend about, one of these drivers you looked up to growing up, to them sending you a Facebook friend request and then a message saying, hey, I need some pictures of my kid from the Bettenhausen last year to send to sponsors. It's like, what?
trying to make those two things kind of compute.
Yeah. So, I'm going from last year at the Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame show, talking to Kenny Wallace, and then mid-sentence, Kenny Wallace stops and says, I need to talk to Tom Jones, sending me a friend request and ordering some pictures. Like that is just wild.
And that's that's just the racing family, and
Hmm.
that's like we talked about. That's part of this reunion, part of the getting the season kicked off, seeing the racing family again. Whether it's current drivers, former drivers, people you maybe ain't seen in a while, maybe people you ain't seen in years, maybe people you ain't seen in months.
Hmm.
So that is part of it. We all kind of rub elbows, kind of the same reason. I hate to maybe make this a equation, but one of the same reasons we enjoy PRI. You
Yeah,
kind of get to
yeah,
rub elbows with other people in the racing industry.
yeah.
Here,
Literally, like we were at Racing Electronics, and standing behind us, Donnie Schatz and Greg Zipadelli. It's like we're at the same level as these people that are, they're on TV.
yeah. So, and this racing memorabilia show for us, it's getting to interview like a Larry
Mhm.
Schuler.
Yeah,
And then at the same time, Jacob Nurcha, you get that vast, kind of, I wouldn't say beginning and end because Larry's still going strong, but you
yes, he
definitely
is.
kind of get everywhere in between, and everybody gets a chance to just hang out for a
I
couple hours. And
remember there was one year, had to be right near the end. So I was sitting at the table, and Wayne Adams was getting pushed by in his wheelchair. Like that's Wayne Adams. That's cool. I didn't grow up at Raceway. I grew up at Illiana. I was at Raceway maybe just a handful of times before it closed. But I knew who Wayne Adams was, and it's like there's the man.
and there's so much of that goes on at the Racers reunion. And I know we're looking forward to it. We got
Hmm.
we got a challenge, so we were challenged to
Right,
try
and
to.
it wasn't don't spend any money. Although I know Shiloh's going to offer you that challenge as well.
Well, she would probably offer the challenge, but she knows that I will fail. Even though I'm a tightwad. This is one of the few times
Well,
I'll
you got to
actually.
save up for this show.
It's
Don
really,
Rich cars aren't cheap.
it's one of the few.
Deservedly so. He does great work.
Yeah, one of the few times I'll actually cut loose with a little bit of cash is usually at this show. So really looking forward to that. Everything we've got going on there. As mentioned, we will be doing recording an episode there this year, as we've done the last few
Many
years.
as many old people as we can get to sit down in front of a microphone.
Yeah. So that'll be the
I didn't
challenge.
say that. As many legends as we can get to sit down. So I
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
like I said with Steve, we tried to get Tom Rose a couple years ago. I still think that would be an excellent interview.
that would be a great episode, a great interview. And it's part of what we do here at Illiana Stock Car Radio. We do focus a lot on the present, but we do want to carry on the traditions of the past, and being able to do that in that kind of setting would be a great opportunity. So,
Hmm.
challenge accepted. Whether we pass or not, we shall see. So,
Well,
time
I,
will
I
tell.
think Steve's going to help us out with the passing the challenge because if anything else, he can twist people's arms and say, "Here, you're sitting down to do this interview."
Yeah, and maybe that's where the guest host thing comes in. Maybe we put
There
him
you
in
go.
there to help lead
That
some of the
that's how he
questions.
earns his free episode.
That's how he
We
earns
should
it.
probably tell him that.
If he listens back this far in the episode, whether he will or not, I don't know. But maybe, yeah, maybe that, it's voluntold.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it's going to be at this point. So, really looking forward to that. March 17th, Will County Fairgrounds, Peatone,
Hmm.
Illinois. Steve gave all the details. You
I'll
can.
Steve, if you're still listening, I'll make you a deal. If you help us out and sit people down, I'll bring all my stuff out Saturday night when you're setting up, so you can have all night to look through it.
Ooh, man. We'll have to keep everybody updated on that one. See,
There you
if he
go.
gets back to you. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's an awesome event every year. Get out of the house. Kind of everybody's got cabin fevered about this time.
Hmm.
Ready to get out, ready to get back to the racetrack, and ready to get things going. So
Yeah,
really looking forward to it. Speaking of reunions and everything, we kind of mentioned it with Steve
we
a little
did.
bit.
Yeah, he jumped the gun. He must have read the. Well, it wasn't even in the
It
script.
wasn't even in this. It wasn't even in your version
Not
of the
breaking
script.
news, but stuff that happened today.
Yeah, it wasn't even in your version of the script. I had a couple notes separately that I made that I wanted to highlight on, and I added it to my version, so to speak. So the last lap, South Bend Motor Speedway event, that was announced. It was announced in November that this would be the last season of South Bend Motor Speedway, the
Hmm.
last competitive racing nights, and then a few destruction
Yeah,
nights as well. The scheduling for the last lap event was announced today, so it'd be the 6th is when we're recording this. Let me see if I can pull that up. I believe that's May 25th.
yes, I think that weekend they're doing, I believe, practice on Friday night, racing on
Oh,
Saturday.
I believe that is correct. My screen reset here, so let's go back in here.
Oh, Don't you hate it when Facebook it unscrolls and you can't find anything again?
I did, but everybody just like yesterday had to actually talk to people because Facebook is down for a little while. So it's
Yeah, that
crazy.
was weird.
Yeah, crazy experience. But yeah, Friday, May 24th, you got hot laps 4 to 9. And that's on this crazy fast time.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
Eastern.
yeah, and Saturday, May 25th. I'll spare everybody the details of the schedule because that you
Yeah.
up in the Southwind Motor.
Saturday's the day I'll be there, so you get to say
Yeah.
hi to me.
Yeah, Saturday, May
Unless
20.
Brendy plans something. I hope Brendy doesn't schedule something on top of that.
Well, we can let you all fight it out. But you'll have Outlaws, late models, street stocks, front wheel drives, Hornets, factory Fords, MCR dwarf cars. You can camp Thursday to Sunday for free, all that good stuff. So basically, one big competitive night of racing, a big blowout. Will be the final event there for the Speedway. They say on their post they'll be honoring several legends who have or are currently turning laps at South Bend Motor Speedway. So, I'm sure they have a lot of festivities planned. But the unfortunate thing with all this is Facebook did
social media in general.
Yeah, the Facebook people are doing what Facebook people are doing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why we try to use our one positive campaign that we've done for several years now, because we want to spread the positivity to kind of counteract the negativity that comes with Facebook. Usually, we try to keep things positive on here, but I think this is one of those times where us as a podcast, we kind of get to podcast a little bit.
Yay! Wait, do I have to take off my glasses and reveal another pair of glasses like the one guy on TikTok?
No, let's not do that.
Okay.
Or the guy that like hits up with the phone and says, "Come here."
Hey, he's fun too.
He's pretty fun. Yeah, he's a good one. He's got a lot of interesting stuff. But so with this, obviously, we're not going to discount anybody's feelings here.
I mean, we've been through it. Steve's been through it.
Yeah, and
Rockford Raceway, Santa Fe, Illiana, countless other tracks that have really hardcore fan bases that have been down this path.
Yes, losing your home racetrack sucks.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we have all been through it, and as we mentioned, they're not building more racetracks. Like they're building subdivisions, they're building strip malls, they're building all this stuff, and the racetrack.
Or God willing, they sit vacant and the town can't find anybody that wants to pony up the money to do this. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, won't pass the soil tests, everything else.
Hey, you know what track I was talking about.
But with some of this comes along obviously anger, bitterness. You are in essence grieving the loss of a loved one, and so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of different feelings that come up with it. However, if you did as someone as people that went to the South Bend Motor Speedway, when the Sours decided that they were going to venture out to the Plymouth Motor Speedway, I think with first the lease program and now the ownership taking over ownership of it. If you didn't see the writing on the wall that this was probably going to be the case, I almost want to say shame on you a little bit. And we'll have Tony on in a few weeks, and maybe we'll get into this, and maybe we won't. As Tony has been very much.
Tony's comment was he's into boats. So
either way, Tony has been very gracious with us over the last several years. He's been an open book. He does not shy away from controversy.
Yeah, and anytime he's had news, we've been the one to break it.
Yeah, we get that call, as you've mentioned, here before, is, hey, I'm going to be on your show this week, and we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z, which is great. But as you and I have discussed kind of behind closed doors, and I think
that was a text message.
I know, right? I wanted to make it sound a little more official.
Okay. Yeah, we had a meeting before we were in separate houses as floating heads.
Yeah, exactly. There have been a lot of challenges from government, towns, and everything else with the South Bend Motor Speedway and trying to get things done. Bathrooms.
Jay I saw posted a big, huge, well, not really rant, but very detailed explanation of why there aren't any bathrooms on property.
Yeah, it's things like that. It's the cost to make improvements to the facility, and then I'm sure not only the cost to make that, but I'm sure you have to go through, get permits and just
the permits are probably going to be just as difficult as the bathrooms.
Yeah, and just dealing with the government, whether it's local, federal, whatever, and anywhere in between, is a pain in the ass. Everybody knows that. and the land, the property you're very limited on what you can do and how far you can
Yep.
expand and the events you can
Yeah,
have.
South Bend's kind of in the same boat as Rockford. They're very, very landlocked.
Yeah. So, the Sours, being business minded, it's something we harped on Illiana for years where, man, to keep the property going, man, use it for something else other than just a weekly racing show.
Mhm.
So, and you see that with the Plymouth Motor Speedway, the whole
Yeah,
complex there with the concerts and everything else that they do, things that we harped on Illiana for years.
right. And Illiana, Illiana was a little landlocked, but they had enough room. They could do stuff. I remember going to a circus there.
Mhm.
I know when Boris was looking at buying the property, he was looking at like a 7-day operation, putting a bar there. Some sort of make money with it from Sunday to Friday.
Yeah. And, having that opportunity to be able to do that, the Plymouth Motor Speedway is out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
Basically, it's out in a cornfield.
Yeah,
The
there's a
facility is,
cemetery next door, but they're not going to complain.
yeah, they're pretty quiet. Yeah, the neighbors are pretty quiet. And the facility is even, back, when it was still dirt before they had purchased it, because that was kind of my history of going there. It
Hmm.
was a wonderfully kept facility.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room there for stuff.
Hmm.
Grandstands are fantastic. That
Well, yeah,
whole,
those are really nice
yeah,
grandstands.
that whole area that they've built up there is fantastic,
Hmm.
especially in this area. So, and I think
Kevin himself pointed out on Facebook. Would you rather want to invest in a Chevette or a Corvette?
yeah, and that's what they're able to do here. They are able to invest in that Corvette, um, and it's not really fair to ask not only your staff but your competitors as well to split time between two
Yeah,
racetracks.
I mean, we look at the last couple years. We've seen splitting the track, splitting the schedules. Doing it, both at the same time, like they tried one year, doing it alternating weeks. It just didn't seem to work for anybody.
It's confusing, and even for a fan, someone who does not compete there. Obviously we've got our own commitments and whatnot. It's like, okay, they're racing South Bend this week, and they're racing Plymouth this week. Do I want
Mhm.
to try to go here?
Yeah, you don't.
What's
Well,
the
you've seen, but you don't want to see my Excel spreadsheet trying to track which track I'm supposed to be at on what day.
Yeah, it's confusing, and if you have both of these properties and you're going to try to make the investment, yes, do you want to invest in the Chevette or the Corvette? Um, and it's kind of a no-brainer at that point. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, yes, South Bend Motor Speedway is going to be the victim here. It's unfortunate. We don't really know what the future holds for the place. Obviously, it could still be purchased and be kept as a racetrack.
Yep.
There is that, but for the current owners, the current iteration, this is going to be the last competitive race there.
Hmm. And
Um,
you know what? Just I'm going to make it a little positive. I want to thank the Brown family and the Sauer family for giving us the years that we wouldn't have had otherwise. When Mike McCooley bought Illiana, you know, even back then in '99, everybody was, oh, this is Illiana's last year. They're close. And McCooley bought it from Harry Molinar, and we got 15 years that we wouldn't have had.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same deal. Same deal there with the sours and everything else. It's, you've had these last several years of being able to
Right.
go out
I
there.
remember going to a couple Ron Varash Keep the Track Alive shows.
Well, and think about also, for us at Illiana that lost our track, how they have welcomed us, some of our
Hmm.
competitors,
Absolutely.
to their
Yeah.
facilities with
For
open arms.
several years, we were doing Illiana reunions.
Yeah, so to be bitter and to be upset again, it's a grieving process.
Hmm.
I understand it, but if you really want it to be a racetrack, pony up.
Yeah.
This is not new. It's been known for a while that this is
Hmm.
going to be the case. I believe the initial post about the 2024 schedule being the last season there was put out in November of
Hmm.
last year, and even prior to then, I don't think it was a secret.
Right.
So while it is unfortunate, we hate to see these racetracks go. This is too many of them in this area.
Hmm.
The Midwest, I'm convinced is still a hotbed for motorsports and for racing. And our little corner of it, unfortunately, is fading fast.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate and it sucks. It sucks for everybody all the way around.
Hmm.
But at the same token, Plymouth Motor Speedway is just 30 minutes south, like due south of
Right.
South Bend Motor Speedway, and
I know Tony's been at both tracks in the same
in the
night.
same night, yes,
Several times going back and forth.
several times. So all is not lost. Understand that the memories, the and everything else, and we want to make sure we highlight that, and maybe
Yeah.
that can be, you know,
100% understand that. I've got 75,000, well, okay, half of that 1,000 pictures of, a racetrack that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah, and maybe ahead of or maybe down in May down the line, we can, we can get with Tony and maybe do a South Bend Memorial Show, so to speak. I see ideas just off
There
the
you
top of my
go.
head. See, I'm thinking about
I
it.
think we got an open day that month too.
Yeah, we might be able to do that. So we definitely don't want to discount anybody. It sucks all the way around. We've
Yeah,
been through
yeah.
it. Everybody here that's probably watching this show probably has been through it in one way or another.
Mhm.
So it does suck. But no reason to be bitter or anything towards the Sour family. I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Uh,
Right.
is you still have an option. They had an options to make. They had choices to
Mhm.
make, and they did the best business thing for them. And
Yeah.
I do support that. We still have a place to go race, a wonderful facility in the Plymouth Motor Speedway
Mhm.
that not only can we go to for racing but entertainment as well. So to be bitter towards them in any way, shape, or form, I think is just unnecessary,
Right.
given the
And,
circumstances.
ultimately, if you want the facility to stay a racetrack, it's for sale.
It is. You pony up,
Buy it.
yeah, buy it. You can keep it a racetrack, and you know what? We hope that somebody does.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for that facility to remain a racetrack.
Yeah, and maybe they will, they will take it even farther than what the Sours took it, and
Mhm.
they did a hell of a job with the place.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're coming from. Any bitterness towards the Sour family, I think, is unjust and undue. So we want to be the ones to say thank you to them
Yeah.
for and Tony and everybody that
Before
works.
Vern says thank you, I got to say thank you.
Yeah, we want to thank them for the hospitality and whatnot at the South Bend Motor Speedway that
Yep.
they've offered us for the last several years. Look forward to also continuing to support them at the Plymouth Motor Speedway this season. Like I said, we will have Tony on in
Yep.
the next month or so, month and a half. We're going to be doing our promoters roundtable as we've mentioned. So that will be fun as well.
So now that we got the negative out of the way, I'm gonna
Sure.
do my one positive.
Let's go ahead and do it. Let's one positives.
We get a farewell weekend. Rockford had a farewell weekend. South Bend's planning a farewell weekend. Here's a little bitterness coming out, and I apologize for it. But you know what we got from Illiana?
Nothing.
Facebook post.
Facebook post.
Hey, we're not opening this year.
Yep. And
So take your farewell weekend and enjoy it. Talk to everybody, share the memories, remember, why you love that place, and just, take the opportunity to say goodbye to it.
yeah, take pictures. Whatever you need to do to get to peace with it. Like you said, with Illiana, we didn't have the farewell. We had none of that. Like you mentioned, Rockford, you got the farewell. East Bay, I think it was closing, or one of the tracks down in
Yeah, I
Florida
believe
was.
East Bay.
Again, they had a farewell. They are having farewell events. Other places, South Bend here included, having the farewell events. Some tracks don't get that. So it's coming. To prep for it, enjoy it, soak it all in. Take a few extra minutes just to look around, and because we don't know what the future holds. But yeah, excellent one positive. Actually getting the farewell event. My hashtag one positive is we talk about the decline of Midwest racetracks and everything that's going on here, but it still is a positive when Midwest racers succeed.
Hmm.
We had Derek Kraus making his first Cup start this past weekend from Wisconsin. Traveling the late model scene up around this area. Ty Majeski ran very well in the Craftsman Truck Series race this past weekend. So success of the Midwest racers, even though we're struggling here, is still alive and well. I think we still produce some of the best racers in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Without question.
I think our guys could go toe to toe with any of the guys in the Southeast or anywhere else. So that's
Hmm.
going to be my one positive. As mentioned already, Good Acre Photography, you guys have a lot
Oh, yeah.
on your plate.
Yep. I like I said with Steve, I've kind of abandoned the sorting. Any other sorting at this point, I wouldn't be able to finish in time. So all of the Andy Grod collection is sorted by car number, and as many people as I could identify are sorted by driver. All of our old Good Acre Photography Illiana stuff is still sorted by driver as far as when we knew who was who. There's a couple boxes I still have to go through, but that'll be a next year project. So yeah, we plan on bringing at least 75,000 prints to the show. We've got a whole crate of old programs that we're going to bring. It's whatever else Brian wants to bring.
And
Yeah,
also,
so
if you're
that's our big thing.
and also if you're a racer out there, it's getting close to time to wrap your cars and
It is,
do
yep, yep.
lettering and decals and everything else.
Yep, that'd be Good Acre Design.
Driver cards, everything else. So you got Good Acre
Yep,
Design
hit us
there.
up about driver cards, T-shirts, car wraps. We're capable of all of those things now. We're working on a new website now that I'm done counting pictures, so that'll be that. I plan on having that together before the season starts. Fingers crossed, and sleep not happening.
So yeah, Good Acre Photography, Good Acre Design, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, like you said, the new goodacrephotography.com that'll be coming out very soon. Again, here for
Oh
Illiana.
God, now I feel like iRacing.
I know, right?
Soon.
Soon, right? Illiana Stock Car Radio, as mentioned again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell there, get notified anytime we release new content. I said we've been trying to do it about every 2 weeks as the season gets going. We want to keep that going, but obviously we're both heavily involved. Me from the actual competition side, Chris from the photography.
You on the track, me in the track.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes things can get a little bit hairy, and maybe we might miss a week or two, but we're going to keep these coming, even if we do some short, monthly recaps, whatever it is. We haven't got the schedule quite figured out yet. For in the season, but we still know we have a lot coming up here in the next month and a half. So again, on YouTube, smash that like button, get notified anytime we release new content. Again, if you're an audio listener, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just search us. You'll find us. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all the good stuff. Everybody on every podcast tells you to do. Go ahead and do that. Facebook and Instagram at Illiana SCR. We've actually been
Jeremy, remember the password.
Yeah, we've actually been with yesterday's outages or whatever. I probably should change those. One of the little Chinese folks getting involved with our business if that was the case. But yes.
Is that one of those they hack into your bank account, they see your balance, and they apologize and send you some more money?
I'm kind of hoping so. They get into our Facebook account, see the lack of posts, and be like, you know what?
Yeah,
you do need some help. We'll
have my identity stolen. My credit rating went up.
At Illiana SCR, Facebook and Instagram, we've been active on there, doing some trying some new things, drive some engagement. It's kind of fun to kind of see what we throw at the wall and what sticks. So.
Yep.
Always good. So if you've made it this far, we want to thank you guys for listening and or watching the entire show. It's a chore to listen to us. I know. We are semi-professional podcasters and not amateur tattoo artists.
Thank God.
Either way, I want to thank our guest Steve Bechtel for coming on the show this week and talking about the 8th annual Chicagoland Racing Memorabilia and Collectibles Show.
And if you're in the area, even if you're not in the area, go to that show. It is such a cool show. There's a reason I've been to a lot of them. Jeremy's even been to several.
Yeah, I think.
And it's something getting him out of bed that early on a Sunday.
It is a little bit of rough getting up and get moving, but we make it happen. So yeah, get to that show. We're looking forward to it. We will be there.
Pictures.
Yeah, we will be there recording an episode, so you'll want to stay for that here in the next few weeks. Christopher and myself, we want to thank you guys again for watching or listening, however you're consuming the show. Just thank you. And until next time, thank you again for tuning in to Illiana Stock Car Radio.